What's up, fight fans? This is Kurt DeVille with Counterpunched Boxing News, and I have some new news concerning Frank Warren, Daniel Dubois, Anthony Joshua. Get this. Frank Warren wants to see Anthony Joshua fight Daniel Dubois. He states Triple D versus AJ. Promoter Frank Warren, who looks after Daniel Dubois, said today that he wants to see Dubois fight Joshua. Warren, speaking on Talk Sports Breakfast Show, said he would watch Dubois fight Joshua all day long. Dubois impressed a good deal of people with his late stoppage win over Jarrell Miller on December 23rd. Dubois coming through a couple tough middle rounds as the hefty 333-pound big baby tried to pour it on and take the show away. And Frank said, for me, Dubois could fight any of those guys in the top 10, Warren said. Even AJ would be a good fight. I'd watch that all day long. I thought Daniel Dubois was brilliant in the Miller fight, absolutely magnificent. He proved to all of his doubters that he does have the heart in a tough fight against a guy who is very good with his gamesmanship, was tough and a tough competitor, and made him fight all the way. He needed a confidence booster. The fight with Usyk, he gave Usyk his toughest fight. He hurt him to the body, and for me, that was a legitimate punch, and the referee giving him more time was ridiculous, okay? Fans still have their opinions on the low, blah, 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 but I want to see AJ and Dubois, and I will reach out to Eddie Hearn to make that possible. Those are the words of Frank Warren, and let me counterpunch. Well, I'll tell you this. If that fight was made, would you be disappointed? And the answer at this point would be no. Because Danny Dubois did a lot of people a favor. Frank Warren, Eddie Hearn, Anthony Joshua, Deontay Wilder. You know, he did everybody a favor, and really he beat the bad guy. You know, the bad guy that is too legit to quit, a bad guy that, you know, for a lot of people's eyes, didn't really deserve to be in the sport, you know, and Danny Dubois pretty much took out the garbage with that type of nemesis running around, you know, wreaking havoc on everybody, and that was refusing to fold. So he gave that guy a good beating after people thought that that wouldn't work for him. I didn't think he was going to beat Miller. But Miller, of course, didn't come in the way he's supposed to, so I am interested to see how the bad guy can do in a rematch against Daniel Dubois. However, if I'm Daniel Dubois and I just fought for a title and came up short, then I took out the bad guy, I'm going to shoot for the stars too. So I don't blame Daniel Dubois. As we already know, the reason why this particular video is not the top one or the first one today is simply because Daniel Dubois has already called out AJ. He's already called out Usyk. We already know this. You know, the only difference is now Frank is starting to enforce and put things into motion to try to make this fight happen. Now, the question is, would AJ want that fight? Would he fancy that fight against Daniel Dubois? You know what I mean? We already know Frank and Eddie are pretty cool, even though they know they're competitors and, you know, competing promotional companies. But I think that that fight, if it could be made, it could be made now more than any other time due to the relationship that Frank has made with Eddie Hearn. Now, keep in mind, Eddie Hearn already has a good relationship with George, you know, George Warren. And they've been working together for a while. Now that he has pretty much opened that window of opportunity and communication over to Frank Warren, you know, that fight can be made, you know, and it all really depends on what AJ wants to do. I think, you know, fighting Dubois, would that help him get closer to a title? And I would have to say no, it wouldn't. You know, beating Dubois would sure give him, it's a name. You know, Dubois fought Miller and he's fought Usyk and he's fought Joyce. So he's making a name for himself. He's come up 2 out of 3. Is that bad? Yeah, in a sense of losing, yes. But he has fought those guys. So, you know, then he can get the fight with Joshua. It would be great for Daniel Dubois. But for AJ, not so much, because AJ is a former two-time unified heavyweight champion, whereas Dubois is a guy that's much younger, you know, but did drop Joshua in sparring or knocked him out or whatever once upon a time. So there is some small buzz that you could, you know, patch on to make this fight intriguing, you know. But they are 2 big hitters, 2 big bangers. you know, and styles make fights. So if it was made, yeah, I would like to see it. But how important is it? Not too important. You know, really. It would be a good local fight that could go down in Britain. Sure, it would. But like as far as progression of someone else's career, again, for Dubois would be superb. It would be ideal. You know, that would really be a cash out for Frank, cashing out Daniel Dubois at that point. See, Jarrell Miller is a fight or flight, but now this is a cash out because he knows, no, you're fighting AJ. Okay? And truth be told, people, Daniel Dubois is supposed to be the answer, the AJ version of Queensberry until he got beat. That's what he was getting pushed by, the cool, calm, collective, polite, you know, guy with manners and shit like that doesn't get too, you know what I mean, until he wasn't, right? So we'll see what happens. You know, let's see what Frank does. Let's see what type of conversation they have to see what the result will be between Daniel Dubois and Anthony Joshua. But of course, please subscribe. And you guys been Counterpunched. Peace.